If you're trying to improve one thing and one thing only in 2025, it should be this. Because if you add this level of play to your game, I guarantee you that you will win more matches at your level. Guarantee it. What am I talking about? I'm talking about taking time away and stealing ground. And whereas seasoned players might know what that actually means, I've had many viewers ask me to go into more details of what that actually is, what it does, and how they can work on that. So this is what this video is all about. Is taking time away and stealing ground the same as hitting the ball early and taking it on the rise? You might be able to use them interchangeably. I don't like them though, because I've seen a lot of players misinterpret those two cues, taking the ball early and taking it on the rise, in a way that basically ends up hurting them more than it hurts their opponent. What taking time away and stealing ground certainly does not mean is that you relentlessly hug the baseline, refuse to back up when necessary, and basically force yourself to take balls on the rise even if they're deep, even if they don't ever get out of your shin zone. So you're feeling pressured, off bounds, constantly needing to hit balls that world-class players cannot produce consistently. So yeah, you're hurting yourself more than them. Let's break down what taking time away and stealing ground actually means. I've got the ball machine set so that I get the exact same ball, same height, same depth, same pace, same everything. And I have a few options. So they're fairly deep balls. So obviously I can drop back and let the ball drop back into a very comfortable height. That gives me plenty of time to react to that ball. Taking the ball back here gives me more time, and I'm exaggerating a little bit for a demonstration purpose, but it also, of course, gives my opponents more time. Literally from the time that their ball leaves their strings to when I'm about to hit it, that is when they have to split step. They have that time to get into their ideal spot of recovery, and then the time the ball travels from my strings to wherever it bounces, they have that time to get ready for their shot, to move to the shot, to prepare for the shot. So if I'm back here, I have more time, but so do they. If I take that same exact ball now, moving up to the baseline here, I'm stealing ground. And I'm basically cutting some of the distance out that the ball has to travel. If I now take that exact same ball here, and I don't have the equipment to measure exactly how long the ball's in the air, it's fractions of milliseconds. But if the ball does not have to travel from here to this deeper position and then also forward, because I'm taking that time away, I am translating that into them not having the time necessarily to get into their ideal spot of recovery. And then they also have less time to run and prepare to that next shot. So that is, I'm taking time away from them, I'm rushing them, and of course, I am trying to steal ground. And what that feels like to be on the receiving end of somebody stealing ground and taking time away from you, I can attest from my own experience. I played Martina Hingis twice and lost pretty badly twice. And it wasn't that she was out hitting me. She didn't hit the ball outrageously hard. But whenever she had the chance, she would step in and she would be in a really aggressive court position, stealing ground, taking time away from me. And I always felt like I had to split step when I wasn't necessarily in the best ideal recovery position. I always felt like I needed to rush my preparation because the ball was already on its way back. Now, what were the key words that I used? Whenever she had the chance. And that really is the difference between a world-class player and recreational players. A, they simply perceive the balls better. They simply see it a lot better, a lot sooner when they have the chance to move up. And then they also do exactly that. They absolutely do move back when they have to. But then they don't get stuck in a passive court position. They work their tushes off to come forward so that they can move up to balls at least at an angle. They do take the ball on the rise, absolutely, but they do let it rise into their contact zone, and they try to take the ball at the top of its bounce. They rarely let the ball drop, and if they ever do let it drop, it's not as dramatic as what I usually see rec players do. And I'm giving you a drill that you can use to work that with that has two parts. You can either do that rallying just through the center, or you can go on your cross courts. Either way is fine. This drill works on perceiving your opportunities to move on up. So all you do when you're rallying is you call yes if you think that you can move up to that ball. And then of course you actually do it. When you either have to hold your ground or you have to give ground, if you have to move back, you just simply say no. Yes, when you can attack the ball, no, when you cannot. See? Sí. Yeah, tal vez. Sí. Eso es. Sí. And if you're new to this concept, you will notice that you're misjudging quite a number of balls. You may run into balls when you think you could have moved up, but they end up being deeper, or you're letting balls drop, or whatever happens. The second part of the drill works on the same thing from a little bit of a different angle, if you will. You're now calling yes when you thought you managed to take the ball either on the rise, do let it rise into your strike zone, or on the top of its bounce, the apex, at the peak, whichever you want to call it. You call yes and you call no when you let it drop. This is more again about perceiving it and basically noticing how many opportunities you might leave on the table when you're simply rallying. And you'll also notice that you're starting to move a lot more aggressively up and back. Yep. Yes. 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 See? See? A few observations when you're starting to take more ground, stealing more ground, and take time away from your opponent is that you may have to adjust your target because you have less room to hit into. The further you're coming in, the closer the opposite baseline is coming to you. So you may have to work on just manipulating that ball that much more. If you're now working on gaining and maintaining a more aggressive court position, meaning closer to the baseline and or even inside the court, that also means that you can now open up more angles. And that is a super effective way, in addition to taking time away, basically forcing your opponent to run longer distances. And that is yet another thing that made Martina Hingis so damn good. She could just hit angles from about anywhere, and I really didn't like her for that. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you want to work on in 2025, and or let me know what you want to work on in 2025 so I can make a video that will help you get there.